Hello, I'm Brian, and I was asked to share about the eczema treatment journey for my youngest son. And honestly, he was the beneficiary of us struggling and working through the eczema treatment journey for my oldest son, who had a very severe case of atopic dermatitis. And ultimately, that led to us putting my oldest son on a biologic that did make a big difference in his quality of life and also ours. The interesting part about it is that, like, my oldest son, there's a 5-year difference in them. And so my youngest son, once we started noticing some of the similar atopic dermatitis signs, we immediately jumped into figuring out what can be done. And so we already knew how to make sure that we were moisturizing in proper layers and putting on the sealants afterwards and trying to eat foods that didn't do as much inflammation. But as it became clear that my youngest son's eczema was a little bit more than like the spot topical treatments could handle, we knew we needed to do something a little bit more systemic. And around that time, a certain biologic was receiving more studies and a little bit more time had come out to where it was now able to be given to children who were 2 years and who had reached 2 years old. My youngest son had reached that threshold. And we knew that we didn't want my youngest son to experience the same things that my oldest son did in terms of his atopic dermatitis condition. And so we decided, with it being in a moderate going toward severe stage with the systemic all over his body, we would go ahead and also put him on a biologic, the same one that his oldest brother was on. And it did make a difference. A lot of the itching and the swelling, the redness, it did stop, and he has not had to suffer the same way that his older brother did. Of course, we had to think through the difficult things like putting him on a medication. Of course, biologics are for eczema fairly new and you deal with the risk. But after what we saw with the oldest son, we had reached a threshold of you have to treat or you watch them suffer. And we didn't want our youngest son to experience that. And so he's been on it now for 3 years. It's been incredible. The biologic still works. The eczema is under control, although he still experiences dryness, which we are trying to work with him on making sure that he's moisturizing because the dryness can get pretty bad. But other than that, he has made a massive contribution to a greater quality of life for us. And there's still more to be done, but we're in a much better case than where we were before. Thank you.